We expect all individuals to act respectably and ethically, as each Enagic distributor should, by refraining from violating copyright laws. My Kangen tools will seek all legal remedies against those who violate copyright laws by copying all or any portion of this DVD or its contents. A recent headline in USA Today read, "Consumer unease with U.S. healthcare grows." And it's no wonder. Americans are rapidly becoming the heaviest people on earth, with overweight Americans now significantly outnumbering those who maintain a healthy weight. 61% of Americans are overweight. Americans pay more for our healthcare than any other country in the world, paying out over $1 trillion in 1997. Healthcare costs are spiraling so quickly that the Healthcare Financing Administration predicts that by 2030, Americans will pay over $16 trillion per year. Recently, the World Health Organization ranked the U.S. 37th best in the world in healthcare system performance. 60 million Americans suffer from some form of cardiovascular disease. According to the World Health Organization, 303 million people worldwide suffer from migraines. 1 out of 13 Americans now has diabetes, and the numbers are still rising. 60 million people a month have heartburn.
Well, for the last 9 years of my life, I've been suffering from Crohn's. I was 10 years old when I started having symptoms, which is blood in my stools. I didn't know what it was. I've been to numerous doctors throughout the 9 years of my life that I've had it. I have been on numerous medications, Asacol, Colazol, and each doctor that I've seen has told me that I needed to take 9 pills a day. And once I figured that out, I mean, in my head, 9 pills a day, that's a lot. And I started worrying, what is it doing to my liver? What is it doing to my body? My parents didn't know what to do, so they just said, take your medicine. That's what the doctors say.
I have experienced migraines for over 4 years. I've had 6 different doctors, 2 different neurologists, and finally went to a pain clinic. Throughout the last 4 years, I've had multiple shots and surgeries and, like I say, many different types of drugs. It got to a point where I couldn't do anything at all. I was pretty much stuck in bed 24/7.
In January 2006, I had a quadruple bypass. And it turned out I had diabetes and didn't know it. I'd been taking Nexium for about 10 years at that point. Had a sleep disorder I was taking medication for. And I weighed about 275 pounds. They put me on high blood pressure medications and Lipitor and all sorts of things. When I talked to the doctor, he said I could expect to be on this stuff for the rest of my life.
I've had a long bout with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue for over 15 years. My health would get better with supplementation and some alkalizing products. I was seeing some results, but with stress and just everything that comes at you through life itself, I couldn't get above water. I would just feel like I was drowning in a sea of no hope.
A 35-year-old Japanese company is trying to make sure that you don't end up being one of these statistics. Enagic is using a technology that turns ordinary tap water into what many are calling magic water. They do this with continuous ionized electrolysis water generating systems. These truly remarkable machines have been certified by the Japanese Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare as a medical device and are used in most hospitals and clinics in Japan. They are also endorsed by the prestigious Japanese Association of Preventive Medicine for Adult Diseases and are the only company with an endorsement from this group of medical doctors. Water makes up 70 to 90% of the human body, including 95% of blood plasma. Many health authorities recognize that dehydration is one of the most common causes of illness. Chronic dehydration is often part of a chronic disease process.
3 months ago, my parents brought home this KangenWater, which we call magic water, and I started drinking it. My parents did not know that I started to do this, but I didn't take my medicine. I started drinking it and I stopped my medicine. No more 9 pills a day, just dropped it. I wanted to see if it would actually work. And lo and behold, it did. I have no more blood in my stool. I've been on the water now for about 3-4 months.
By the 3rd or 4th day, I experienced where I wasn't having horrible migraines. So then I just, said, oh, it's just the spinal cord stimulator that's working. It's not the water. Well, I got a little brave and turned off my spinal cord stimulator, and amazingly enough, I didn't have migraines. A week went by, I still didn't have migraines, and I guess it was about a month later that we finally bought our machine. And it's amazing to me that this water can do anything. It fixes everything. Our health is so much better. My health is so much better. And I'm happy to say that over the last 30 days, I just had surgery to take out the spinal cord stimulator.
I bought a 501 machine, September, and by October, pardon me for getting choked. My diabetes was gone. Blood pressure normal. And my knee healed itself. And I got off of all my medications. My energy levels have gone up through the roof. My constipation's gone. My hemorrhoids are gone.
My fibromyalgia is so much better. The chronic fatigue, I danced a month ago at my daughter's military ball. I was up there longer than some teenagers, that's amazing. The acid reflux, it took about 4 or 5 months. It wasn't gone like some people say theirs has. Just being able to experience life and not be a recluse in a cave anymore is just awesome.
The body has a truly remarkable and complicated water regulating system that rations water when it's in short supply, until it receives unmistakable signals that it has access to an adequate supply. The problem is that some organs, like the brain, are higher on the priority list for water than others. Symptoms are the result of stressed organs that are dehydrated. This is much the same type of signal your car would give if the cooling system were overheating while climbing a steep hill. In both cases, if proper measures are not taken, a breakdown can occur.
Well, most people know that the human body is about 75% water. And one of the ways I like to explain that and put it in perspective for the average person is to say that we take that 10 gallons of water out of a 150-pound person and we dump it into a fish tank. And when you put it in a fish tank, you add your fish, and then you have to start feeding the fish. So we're going to dump our fish food in the top, we're going to let the fish swim over and eat the fish food, and then they're going to digest that food and use it for energy, and then they're going to put the waste back out into the water. And what happens is over time the fish keep doing that process. We keep feeding them, they keep eating, they keep pooping, and pretty soon that water gets really dirty. Now, most of us know that when the fish start to get sick, something has to happen. So we have to change the water. The cells in the body are just like that, just like the fish, in that they too are fed by the water that they swim around in or are bathed by. We call it interstitial fluid. And that water basically has to be carrying in the food, carrying in the oxygen to each individual cell, and it helps carry it through the cell wall, just like the fish has to get on the inside, and it's metabolized, and then the waste are expelled back out into the interstitial fluid, or the fish tank if you want to think of it that way. And the secret to health is the efficiency at which you do that process, taking the good things in, getting rid of the bad things.
When asked how much water they drink each day, most people answer, not enough. We know that we should drink more water, but most of us don't make it a high enough priority. In fact, many people are confused as to how much water a person is supposed to drink.
Mainly a lot of patients that come in, they have a lot of constipation problems, and it's because they don't drink water. And so it's very common when they come in. A lot of times they haven't had a bowel movement, sometimes only once a month, and that's hard to believe, you know, how they've gone that long, but we see it all the time. And then I ask them, well, how much water do you drink? Well, maybe a glass, you know, a day, maybe a glass of water a week. I drink a lot of tea, coffee, things like that, which is diuretic, so that makes them more constipated.
Most doctors will tell you that we should drink 8 8-ounce glasses of water per day. But is it a one-size-fits-all answer? Common sense would indicate that a 250-pound person would need more water to maintain their 75% hydration level than a 125-pound person. And what about someone who is very physically active or someone who works in a hot climate versus a person that is sedentary and perhaps stays indoors the majority of the time?
Think of the last time that you went out and exercised really hard. Maybe it was intentional at the gym, maybe it was unintentional, maybe you just went for a hike with some friends and got into a more serious hike than you intended. Think back to how you felt the next morning after that physical exertion. And many of you will relate to the person who could hardly roll out of bed. The muscles were screaming, everything hurt. And the reason for that is pain and inflammation, and that's caused by an accumulation of lactic acid and other metabolic wastes. The body was not able to eliminate those as quickly as they were being produced. So the end result is you don't feel good. End result is you're sick and you're stiff and you have joint and muscle inflammation, and you know, life is not fun. Now, depending on how efficient your body is over time at getting rid of those depends on how long it takes you to recover from that exertion. And one of the neat things is by putting the best water in the body and the best fuels in the body, we can recover from that process very quickly and very efficiently.
So my experience with the Kangen alkaline water was actually pretty amazing. My husband came to me a day before my triathlon race, and he recommended that I drink the water. And I said, water's just water. And he said, just try it. So myself and 2 of my friends tried the water the day before the race and during the race. And I didn't prepare as well as I should have or could have, but I did drink the water. We all had our best race times. We were so impressed. We had less fatigue. Muscle soreness was almost nothing. Usually after a race, I'll come home and I want to sleep. We actually went to dinner and we had a full day playing with the dogs in the park, so it was really amazing that water is just not water.
Many healthcare experts now recommend that you drink a minimum of 1/2 of your total body weight in ounces of water each day. One reason that people don't drink enough water is that all too often water just doesn't taste very good, so we drink other beverages instead of plain water. Unfortunately, many of these beverages are polluting our internal environment and reducing our body's thirst mechanism in the process. And then there's the problem of how clean and safe the water is to drink. It seems that every few days we hear about another pollutant being found in our water. Chemicals are being put into the water supply by the water treatment facilities across the nation, most of which are not good for us. Then we learn that every time someone takes a pharmaceutical or flushes unused drugs down the toilet, they end up in our water supply as well. This problem has led to one of the largest new industries in America, the bottled water industry, which raked in $12 billion in 2007. In 1990, Americans bought 2.2 billion gallons of bottled water. Last year, we consumed 8.8 billion gallons, an increase of more than 300%. Industry experts point out a number of factors for this increase: the convenience it brings to our mobile society, our healthier habits and healthier lifestyles, and the perception that bottled water is safer and tastier than tap water. But is the water in those bottles really healthy to drink? Let's take a look at just one company to see what's happening in this growing industry. Coca-Cola has 30 plants across America bottling their Dasani water. The source of this water is the local municipality. And for your information, the FDA does not require that purified or bottled water have the source of the water listed on the label. It takes about 72 billion gallons of water a year worldwide just to make the empty bottles. The energy used each year making the bottles needed to meet the demand for bottled water in the United States alone is equivalent to more than 17 million barrels of oil. That's enough to fuel over 1 million cars for a year. This filtered water is then placed into plastic bottles and shipped all around the world. But even if this were the answer to our drinking water problem, it just created another major problem: plastic bottles overrunning the landfills of our nation. The bottling companies want us to believe bottled water is the answer to our water problem so that we will continue to buy it. Bottled water has now become the second largest beverage segment behind soft drinks. In 2003, the California Department of Conservation estimated that roughly 3 million water bottles are trashed every day in that state. At this rate, by 2013, the amount of unrecycled bottles will be enough to create a 2-lane highway that stretches the state's entire coast. Bottling companies are even trying to make consumers believe by having the word water on the label somehow makes it good for you. Vitamin water is the worst health drink. Filtered bottled water is considered dead water by the Japanese and is also potentially full of organochlorines and other chemicals from the plastic containers it is sold in. Consider that fish don't do well in reverse osmosis or distilled water, and neither do your cells. Every person wants to feel better and have more energy, no matter how fit or unfit they are. This Japanese company, Enagic Incorporated, has discovered what many scientists are now telling us. The quality and quantity of water that we put into our body is extremely important for the peak performance and health we are all looking for to enhance our lives. We know that clean water is important, but researchers are now saying that there are additional traits to the best water for us to drink.
Luckily for us, there is a company now making a machine that will make the perfect water. And it helps our body act and operate in a more efficient manner. It carries that fuel and oxygen into the cell more efficiently, it carries the waste out of the cell more efficiently, and it just lets us function better.
Researchers have discovered that the most consistent trait of long-lived clusters of healthy people on the planet is the water that they drink.
Nature actually makes water in a couple of different ways, and we have rain falling out of the sky, and we also have the accumulation of snow high in the mountains. And we found from research that the most important water and the best water for all living organisms is that water that comes from the glacier and the snowmelt high in the mountains. And scientists have now been able to tell that there's a difference in the structure of water. The difference is really two things. There's a 5-sided or a pentagonal structure, and there is a 6-sided or hexagonal structure. And the 6-sided structure, many people call microclustered. The reason for that is because it tends to be clumped together in 3 to 5 molecules, where the 5-sided structures tend to clump between 15 and 100 molecules. And so the water doesn't break down as well. The surface tension is much higher.
In his book, The Water Puzzle and the Hexagonal Key, Mu Shikzan, PhD and one of the foremost water authorities in the world, states, hexagonal water is energetically more powerful. It is the obvious biological choice. Hexagonal water moves easily within the cellular matrix of the body, helping with nutrient absorption and waste removal.
Last August, I was in a wheelchair due to knee pain, needing knee replacements. My knee pain had gotten so severe over 2 years, and my quality of life had virtually ended. A friend of mine told me about the KangenWater in September, and I ordered a machine. And the first thing that happened was in the first 2 days, all of a sudden 10 pounds just melted off my body. Well, that was pretty exciting. Day 1 to 9, no changes happened in my pain, but I woke up on day 10 pain-free, and a week later, I'm pain-free. And it's 6 months later, I'm pain-free. I can walk out of my house and I have my life back.
I ended up in the hospital for about 3 weeks. Around the clock, 24 hours a day, I had a 1-hour IV drip for 2 weeks before I got out of there. When I got out of there, my leg was still swelling from time to time. My blood sugar was still erratic. I was still having major problems with weight control. And then a year later, friends of ours brought us this water to try, and what happened was those symptoms that were staying with me, that were bugging me, even though I was there treating other patients, they still bugged me, right? Started to rescind. They started to reverse. I started losing weight. The circulation came back to my leg didn't swell as much. I started seeing results in me.
So how can we drink this wonderful water? About 40 years ago, Russian scientists discovered that by running water past magnetically charged plates, they could separate the water into 2 streams, one that is alkaline and one that is acidic. This process is called ionization. The Japanese have improved upon this process so that it's now possible to turn tap water into living, highly energized alkaline water. This water is also high in antioxidants to slow down the aging process while increasing the oxygen available to the body. In its natural, healthy state, the human body is slightly alkaline. Those who are able to maintain this alkaline state experience increased physical vitality and stamina, enhanced mental clarity and acuity, increased ability to get along with other people, increased optimism and vision, hastened recovery from illness, injury, allergies, trauma, and increased resistance to illness.
Personally, I've had acid reflux, and drinking alkaline water for the past year, I have no discomfort from acid reflux. I sleep like a baby at night, and I go every time I eat. Therefore, my colon is clean.
As for myself, I was pretty healthy prior to changing the water, but I have experienced increased energy and less leg fatigue by drinking the water. And despite the fact that I wash my hands frequently throughout the day, being in the medical field, you have to do that, and also the fact that I'm exposed to a lot of disinfectants that we use on our medical equipment, my skin has not been as dry. My skin has been a lot softer this year as compared to last year when I had severe dryness, which led to very painful, cracked, and sometimes bleeding hands.
Oxidation is the rust on a pipe or the breakdown that occurs when you cut an apple and it turns brown. Oxidation is also called aging. Antioxidants slow down or stop that process and are found in many fruits and vegetables from Mother Nature. Hexagonal KangenWater has 3 to 8 times the antioxidants of green tea. The Japanese call this KangenWater. Kangen translates to return to origin.
In the early 90s, I had the chance to go to Japan and see the technology that we're talking about used in clinical applications in hospital settings. And I saw some things that made me stand back and really evaluate some of the things I'd been taught about medicine and health. And I saw water doing things there that blew my mind. And as a result of that trip and seeing some of those miracles with people who had things like eczema and psoriasis and diabetes and neuropathy, I came back with a strong desire to get one of these machines and have the water available to use in my clinic and to share with my patients and friends and family and myself. And so I came back and I bought a water ionizer, and I have to be honest, I was very disappointed in the results. I gave a lot of water away and people just didn't notice any difference, and then I really couldn't say that I did either. Treating some of the people with those terrible skin conditions, even acne, it didn't seem like the water was making any difference. So I knew that, that at that point that ionizers were not all created equally. So that began a search for me and a journey of looking for and finding the best ionizer out there that would accomplish what I wanted it to accomplish to help the most people with the most health challenges. So as a result of that journey, I have gone from one machine to another. I've actually, over the last several years, purchased I've purchased 7 water ionizers from different manufacturers. And I will say some work a little bit better than others, but none really truly did for my patients and myself what I expected. So I was a little bit disheartened actually, and I thought, well, they just must have something really special in these machines that are made for the hospitals and the clinics and on a big scale, and we just can't get those in a consumer-sized version here in the United States. But in July of 2006, I was invited to a meeting that was a celebration actually that was being done by a company called Enagic, and went to Los Angeles, California, met the president of the company there, Mr. Oshiro, and although I wasn't able to understand everything that was being said in Japanese because the meeting was in Japanese, I tried the water and I knew there was something special about that water. I could taste it, I could see the difference, I could feel the difference in my body. And after drinking the water, I slept more sound than I had in a long time. I have to be honest with you, I've never had a lot of health conditions and or challenges, but I slept better and I woke up with less sleep, feeling fully rested and energized, and I had even more energy than normal. And that got me excited. So I bought a machine that following day and got one in my clinic and started giving water away. And I have to tell you, it's just been an absolute miracle what I've seen since. Patients are coming in and getting water. They're bringing their friends in, they're bringing in their family, and they're taking water home and drinking it, and they're coming back and saying, I gotta have some more magic water. And when you ask them what they're noticing, everything from, I see I'm using less insulin if they're diabetic, I'm having less pain, I have better sleep, I'm not as depressed, I'm not as anxious. The things they're telling me is absolutely phenomenal. And I've come to realize just how important this foundational part of our body really is. You know, we are 75% water, and we overlook it, we take it for granted. And as I see the changes occurring in patients, what I'm coming to realize more and more every day is that the water is the key. All the other things are secondary. The water is in nature the greatest solvent. The water is the solution in which all chemical reactions take place in the body. The water is the foundation, and as people drink it, amazing things take place inside their body.
These amazing machines don't just produce water for drinking, but also water is used to clean and disinfect your home. You can clean your floors, carpets, toilets, showers, and countertops. You can use it to get rid of a stain on clothing or to wash your clothes in the washing machine. It also makes a beauty water for the skin that will rival the most expensive lines of beauty products. It produces a water to clean and disinfect your food. People are amazed at all the things you can do around the house with ionized water.
Rather than grab one more pill or one more medicine or one more herb or one more anything, you know, maybe stop and think about, what could I do if I just drank a little bit more water? And particularly the right water, because it does make a big difference.
Drink KangenWater and experience the difference for yourself.
Putting this wonderful water in your body absolutely is one of the best preventive maintenance things that I personally know of, and I recommend it to everybody that I talk to.
Now we're going to show you exactly what we've been talking about with all the different drinks that we typically would put into our bodies. What we've got before us are a whole bunch of the drinks that we would typically see in most grocery stores, restaurants, or in most fridges across America. What we're going to do here is we're going to make up some of our 9.5 Kangen water, and as we're doing that, we'll talk about some of these other waters that are on the counter and other drinks. We've got Dasani and Aquafina, of course, very two popular bottles of water. Coke and Pepsi's #1 sellers. We've got Propel or Gatorade, we've got Sprite, and then we have that new vitamin water that everybody's been talking about. So now that we've got a whole glass here of our 9.5 water, we'll just set that right here. And let's take a little look at these. First, we'll get the Sprite opened up. I'm going to pour a little bit in the glass. Now Sprite, you know, a lot of the moms out there, they give Sprite to their kids when the kids aren't feeling well, but I think after today, you may not want to do that anymore. The next one here is the Propel, the Gatorade. We're using all clear drinks today because when we go ahead and put in the pH drops, which we're going to use pH test drops that actually will color the water, and you're going to be able to see what the pH of these various drinks are. Here's our first reverse osmosis water. This is Dasani. Now, reverse osmosis in Japan, they actually call this dead water because there's actually nothing good in this water for you. In fact, the actual process actually takes everything out of the water, all the minerals and everything, and that's actually why it tastes somewhat decent. But I think you'll find that after today, you don't want to be drinking this water anymore because it just doesn't give you the ability to get the nutrients from the various things that we're putting into our bodies. Now we've got our Kangen water, our 9.5, and we'll go ahead and pour this. Put that right there. And then the last glass, this is going to be tap water. So we'll just go ahead and just leave this on tap. We'll go ahead and fill up a glass of tap water there. Now, the first thing I want to do is I actually want to show you what is the ORP. We've talked a little bit about ORP. And what ORP is that is the oxidation reduction potential. Now, Dr. Carpenter just talked about the apple, when you cut it, it turns brown and it oxidizes. And the number that we're looking for a negative number. Any negative number means that it's an antioxidant. A positive number means that it's actually oxidating on your body. So let's go ahead and test. Actually, before we do this, what I want to do is I need to get ourselves a cup of clean water. We're going to get some clean water, and we can actually do this on the machine. We just set it to clean water. Go ahead and turn this on, and we're going to run just some 7.0 pH clean water, and I'm going to actually dip the wand of the ORP meter in this between each one so we don't contaminate any of our tests here. So we'll go ahead and set this right here, and we'll bring the meter over here. So let's see. I'll go ahead and clean that off now. And when we get our first one, let's go ahead and see what that reading is right there. We've got about a positive 363. We'll go ahead and go into the next one here. Let's get that all cleaned off. We'll bring that right there. And let's see, what are we getting there for a reading? A positive, what, 292. Pretty good, 296. I think we're going to go over 300. So we'll go ahead and we'll go to the next one there. Now remember, these are positive numbers. We're looking for a negative number. So this means that all of these are actually oxidizing substances to our bodies. So we'll go ahead and we'll go in here to the vitamin water. And we've got what? A positive 214. We'll go ahead and put that back in the clean water. Now we'll get over here into the Dasani and we'll see where the Dasani registers. Now the Dasani is a positive 100, 168, 172. As you can see, it's continuing to climb. We're going to be over 200 here in a moment. That's going to continue to go up. We'll go ahead and just clean that one off. And we'll come back here and we'll check the Aquafina. The Aquafina, we've got a positive, look, it looks like about 150 thus far. It's going to keep on going. We're up to about 180, and I think as we sit and watch it, it's going to be the same as the Dasani. It'll continue to climb to over 200. We'll go ahead and bring this over. In fact, I'm going to skip and come right over to the tap water. and we'll come back and do our Kangen water. Now the tap water has a positive 300, what is that number now? 325, 334, over 350. I think we'll find that'll continue to climb to well over 400. And as we sit and watch that go, I think you're going to see that it will. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the next. We're going to come back now and let's see what the Kangen water, the 9.5. Go ahead and put this in here. Now what we're looking for here is a negative number, and I think you can see right now we are at a minus 349, minus 350. You know, we're riding right around the 349, 350. So minus 350, that is a huge change. When we go ahead and look at that, that is, I'm going to get this put away. That's amazing. That's a huge difference. If you want to put an antioxidant into your body, in fact a liquid antioxidant, you know, this is exactly the source, is the Kangen water, the 9.5. Okay, now let's go ahead and test the pH of each of these drinks. Now the pH is done where we use actually pH test drops. And these test drops are actually the same drops that you would use to test the pH in a pool. And we're just going to put 4 drops into each of these glasses. Now the pH scale ranges from 0 to 14. And what you want is you want to be on the high side. You want to be as high as you can get. You don't want to be on the low side. So we're going to go ahead here. We're going to stir these up. And we're going to stir up this first one here, the Sprite. And you can see on the, basically on the low side of the pH scale, you've got very, very, you know, an orangish color, which is what you don't want. You get into here to the vitamin water. I thought vitamin water was supposed to be good for you. Well, it's got a very low pH to it. We get in here to the reverse osmosis waters. This surprises a lot of people when they actually see this reverse osmosis water. You know, you go to the store and you buy these bottles and you think that it's really good for you, but yet you can see it just doesn't have that much of a pH value. Now this last glass, this is the tap water. Now this tap water here is, it's blue. And some people get excited about that because actually the pH value of this compared to all these other drinks is much better. Much better. But what they don't tell you is that the federal government mandates that tap water be at least 7.0 in pH. And so because of that, they use various chemicals, lyes, and anything they have to put into that water to get it to go to here. In fact, a lot of times when you filter this water, you will actually see that the pH values come back to this range once some of those chemicals are filtered out. So let's see what happens when we actually take some of our 9.5 water here and we just mix a little bit of it right in. Look what we just did to that tap water. We changed that tap water and we took it from an acidic, or actually it was a somewhat neutral state, to a very alkaline state. We're going to do the same thing over here to the Aquafina, and it very quickly turns purple. You can see that. Here we go again. We're going to get it to go purple just by mixing in some of our water. Now these other 3 over here, I actually want to, I want to go ahead and use our water, our 9.5 water, and I'm going to pour it directly in. Now watch what happens when we do this. Isn't that amazing? We're not getting any color change at all. In fact, if I go over here, we're not going to get any color change in either of these drinks. They are so acidic that it's actually going to take anywhere from 25, 30 cups of our water, of 9.5 pH water, when we mix it into these other waters, or these other drinks, to actually get it to go neutral. In fact, I'm going to show you that because this is so potent. I mean, look at this soda here. This soda is so potent that if we just take a tiny bit and put it right into one of these cups, it immediately takes away the alkalinity of these. I mean, take a look at that. It is just, it's absolutely gone. And so very, very quickly you can take an alkaline substance and turn it into a very acidic substance. I want to clear these out of the way here. I'll just put those there. Get these out of the way. And now, something very interesting. Dr. Carpenter mentions that the body is a lot like a fish tank. And when you look at that fish tank, he said that an average 150-pound person has 10 gallons of water in their body. So what I want to do is I want to actually have this pitcher represent your body. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill this up here with our 9.5 water. And this is going to take a moment here. But basically, as Dr. Carpenter said, the body is a lot like this fish tank, and we've got to change the water in the fish tank in order to get ourselves healthy, because as that water starts to get dirty, if you don't do something with it, we're going to be in trouble. So what we're doing here is I'm going to fill this up to represent the body, and we'll get this pitcher about halfway full. Just bring it right over here. We're going to take some more test drops. We'll just put a whole bunch of them in there. And we'll give this a nice stir. Now that picture there is representing that nice, perfect alkaline body. Now it's pretty hard to stay completely alkaline because most things that we do, whether it's the food we eat, the stress, driving down the road, whatever it is, it causes our body to create acid. And you want to get yourself to this alkaline state. So let's just imagine that we did everything right. We had no stress in our life and everything was perfect. And so here is that body of water that we have. And let's say somebody grabs a soda. And they, one of these sodas here, it's funny because this little 20 ounce or 16.9 ounce soda has 2 servings. I don't know anybody that drinks this soda in 2 different servings, but we're just going to go ahead and say, let's just say we just had a little sip. So we're just going to take this little cap, which it takes about 5 of these caps to make an ounce. And we're just going to take that one little cap, we'll put that in there, and let's just stir this up and see what happens. We had this nice purple, which is that high 9.5 alkalinity, and look what that one cap did. It already has taken us down to somewhat neutral. In fact, it's still getting lighter. Let's just go ahead and we're just going to put one more cap in here. And who drinks a little sip of soda like that? I don't know too many people, but look what just happened. Look what just happened to that body. Now, if that represents our body, we've just taken ourselves from a very alkaline state and we've made ourselves extremely acidic with 2 tiny little caps of soda. 2 tiny caps of soda. And we're using Sprite because it's clear, but any soda, this represents all the different sodas that you would drink. And we can try really hard to actually change the alkalinity of this water. I mean, look at this. We can try and we can try, but watch what happens. As this sits here and we put all that in there and we got it to go, but it just goes right back. It just goes right back. So it's really hard on your body when you keep putting all these acidic things into it when you're trying to catch it back up. And so the best thing to do is to avoid them completely and start drinking Kangen water. Start drinking as much of this water as you can drink, working yourself up from at least 1 ounce for half your pounds in body weight. So if you're a 200-pound person, you'd want to start with 100 ounces, which is a little over 3 quarts. That's a great place to start. You want to work yourself up to 3/4 of an ounce per pound, and that's really where you want to be. But I mean, this is just, it's unbelievable what starts to happen to your body. So we'll go ahead and put this over here in the sink. Now, I want to show you one more thing here that is really, really cool. This machine does a number of things, and by looking at the front of it, you could probably tell there's a whole bunch of other waters that our machine makes. And one of the waters is actually an 11.5 water that will clean. It will clean like nothing you have ever seen before. So let's go ahead now. I'm going to take some tomatoes. These are right on the vine. We're just going to take these tomatoes right out of the package here. Let's see. Let's pull this vine right out. I'm just going to put these right in. There we go. These are tomatoes that we just bought down at the local grocery store. And typically, we take our fruits and our vegetables and we wash them, but we usually wash them right under the sink. That's what we've been taught. You wash them under the sink. But today, we're actually going to use our cleaning water. Now, in this jug, we have an 11.5 pH water that comes out of the machine. When we come over here and we set it at the 2.5 setting, we actually make an 11.5 water. And just to show you what it looks like any other ordinary water. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and fill that first cup up. Just pour that right there. And now for the second tomato cup, what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and use just some regular bottled water, because I think a lot of us are starting to learn. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to see what's being talked about in the news, all the different chemicals that we're finding in our tap water. And so now let's remember that this one on the left, we're going to set this right here. In fact, I'm going to put this jug right here so we remember. And this one on the right is the Dasani. We're just going to let those sit. Let's give them each a little stir. And we're just going to let those sit here for a few minutes, and then we will come back to them. There we go. This cleaning water, you can actually clean your laundry with this. You can clean spots on carpet, in your clothes. It's an impressive water, and I think as you start to use it, you'll find you can use it for all sorts of things around the house. Now, the next property that Dr. Carpenter discussed is the microclustering property. And the microclustering property of our water it's fantastic. So what I want to show you here is this water's ability to actually take nutrients and actually grab those nutrients and do something with them. So what I've got here is I've just got some Stash Premium Green Tea, just your average green tea that comes from the grocery store. We'll just get these opened up. We're going to let these in here like so. And let's see, we'll go ahead, we'll use Aquafina. Now we're going to make tea, or attempt to make tea, with a water that is not, it's not hot. We're not going to allow this to steep. It's just a room temperature water. And now I want to make some tea with our 9.5 water. So we're going to go ahead and run us here another quart of our 9.5 water. We're going to give that first tea just a little bit of time. We're going to let it attempt to make tea from that reverse osmosis water. Remember what we talked about. Reverse osmosis water is what the Japanese call a dead water. It doesn't have any minerals in it at all. And in fact, when you put that water into your body, it can actually deprive your body of some of the essential minerals and nutrients that it has in it, because water, like anything, will balance itself out when it goes into your body. So now we'll just go ahead and take this cup here, and we're going to pour a cup of tea with our water. And I think you already see what is happening here. We have got tea. What I want to do is I want to give this one a little spin. We'll give this one just a little spin here. We'll just stop. Look at that. You've got two different cups here, same tea bags. One is obviously having a hard time making anything, and you've got this one here which looks like a perfectly good cup of tea. Now what's amazing about the microclustering properties is it actually will multiply the amount of nutrients that you're putting into your body and actually enable your body to use those nutrients. So as I slide this next tea bag over, watch what's going to happen. I can take this tea bag now and I can come over here and I can make another cup of tea. How about that? I mean, this property alone is amazing. For folks out there that like to drink coffee, you can go ahead and make your coffee, and you can use about half the coffee beans that you would normally use and get just as good a cup of coffee. And look at this. There's another cup. I think we could go on and on here and make anywhere from 15, 20, 25 cups of tea off of one tea bag. And there's actually nothing wrong with this at all. This is a fantastic tea, and it tastes exactly like green tea should taste, and yet it's just regular room temperature water. Let's come back over here to this little guy and let's see what's going on here. He's having a hard time getting started. I don't know too many people that would actually want to drink that cup of tea, but take a little look though. I don't think there was anything wrong with the tea bag. The problem was the water. So if you change your water, you're going to actually be able to, I mean, think of what you could do with just the cost of tea alone. You could go buy your expensive tea and make cup after cup after cup. But the ability that this has is if you take supplements, if you take vitamins or any herbs, as you put them into your body will actually be able to absorb all those nutrients. Most of the vitamins that we put into our bodies actually go through our bodies, and we don't even absorb them at all, because it's a lot like this reverse osmosis water. We've allowed our bodies to get to that state to where it can't even accept that nutrition. And we need to put this 9.5 water into our bodies to allow that to happen. So you can make tea all day long off one tea bag. We'll get these out of the way. Now, as we just discussed, the actual cleaning properties of this water is quite important because typically, you know, when we go out and buy our fruits and vegetables, or if we go to a good food store, to anywhere natural and buy something organic, a lot of times we'll take those and we will wash them under the sink. That's not such a good thing here. I'm going to run some more tap water just to show you what we have in our tap water. Now, we're going to run a little bit different test here. We're actually going to test the chlorine, the amount of chlorine that we have in this tap water. So we'll put 4 drops there. We'll go ahead and stir this up. And that yellow color, you can see, is a ton of chlorine. That is a lot of chlorine. And of course that chlorine's put in there, I guess, to protect us, but I certainly don't want to put this chlorine into my body. A typical glass of chlorinated water, you know, if you take a shower, a 15-minute shower, you're going to absorb anywhere from 6 to 8 glasses of that chlorinated water through your skin, which of course is your largest organ. And so you don't want that to happen. But here's what happens when we go down to the store and we buy a fruit or a vegetable or whatever it is, and we decide to wash it off. We would normally put that right under the tap. Well, we're going to show you what happens when you do that. Get this nice and chopped up. I'll just give this a nice little bath. There I go, making a mess. Put this right here. Just going to give this a little stir, just like we would. I mean, I know my wife jumps in the bath and she'll take a nice 15 or 20-minute bath. Well, the good news is that, you know, we have a nest spa that we've actually got in our home. So when we bathe, we don't have to bathe in this tap water because this onion now is representing our skin. You know, this onion also, it would be like any of the food that you would decide to run under the tap. And if you do that, watch what happens here. As we pour this out, take a look. What happened to that yellow chlorinated color? You know what happened. It's gone. The reason it's gone is it absorbed right into the onions, which now, of course, we're going to eat. I just put more chlorine drops in there to see how much chlorine's left in that water, and there's none. So what happened when we took our fruits and vegetables and we washed them under the tap? I think you just realized it. We didn't wash the vegetables, we washed the water. We literally cleaned the water, we filtered the water that we let go down the drain, and we put the chlorine and the other chemicals right into the food that we're about to eat. So that right there is pretty dramatic. And I'll tell you, I know that I don't want to ever shower or bathe in regular chlorinated water. I certainly don't want to have to wash my food in it by any means. And so you definitely want to actually go ahead and use our 11.5 water when it comes to cleaning off our foods. So let's go back now to these tomatoes and let's see what's happened. Get a couple more glasses here and let's go ahead and take a little look here. This is what the Dasani. Reverse osmosis water is in a lot of homes. People have these filter systems that are built right in, and basically they do it because they think that that water is very, very good for you. Now, what did we wash off of these tomatoes with that water? I think you can tell it doesn't look like much. That looks like regular old clean water. We'll come over here. Now let's see what we washed off of this first set of tomatoes. Look at that water. That yellow color right there represents the pollutants that we actually have that are on those tomatoes. Typically, you would actually eat these, and if you were to taste the difference between the two, you will not want to eat these tomatoes, because as you go ahead and grab these tomatoes, they're fantastic. They're sweet and they just taste incredible. They taste exactly like they taste right out of the garden. So you don't want to ever have to eat food that you haven't washed in our water. So we'll go ahead and set these right aside here. because I've got one last thing that I want to show you that is absolutely unbelievable. It is so unbelievable that most folks, when they see this, they absolutely cannot believe what they just saw, and it is quite amazing. What I've got here is just some olive oil, and we're just going to take some pure olive oil here. It's 100% extra virgin olive oil. Now, what happens when you typically mix water and oil? I think everybody knows that as you mix water and oil, they don't mix. Just like we've been taught in school, everything we've ever been taught, that's exactly what happens is they don't mix. The oil just floats right to the top. Well, what's pretty amazing about our water is that you've got, we'll take some more of this 11.5 water. This water has cleaning powers that are so amazing that you can actually, when it comes to cleaning those tomatoes, as we saw, it took everything off of those tomatoes. Most of the herbicides and pesticides today are oil-based, so anything that they're putting onto our foods, they make it oil-based so it doesn't wash off when it rains. It makes sense. But when we take our 11.5 water now and we actually pour this into olive oil, look what just happened. That is completely emulsified right in the cup. That's amazing. There's chemists out there that say that's impossible. That shouldn't happen. But look at that. We just emulsified this oil. Talk about cleaning properties. Talk about being able to clean your shower or clean the car or clean anything greasy. You know, if the kids go out and get something on their clothes that they shouldn't have, you're going to be able to cut it and break it down. But this oil, you know, it represents the gunk and the junk in the body. And look at how if we put the right water into our body by putting a high pH water in our body, we can actually take this right out of it. And so that right there is reason enough for anybody to go ahead and get one of these machines. So I hope today that I've shown you exactly what you need to see and to actually be able to tell what this machine can do for you in your home. Because everything that this machine has, it has the water levels starting at 8.5 pH up to 9, and the 9.5, we have a 7.0 water, which is the water for medication. If anybody's taking a medication, you know, a pharmaceutical, you have to be careful because just like it multiplied the effects of the tea, it'll do the same thing for the medication. And so we have a clean water function here, 7.0, and if you were going to take a medication, you would want to go 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after taking it, you'd want to use our 7.0 water. We also have a 5.5 acidic water, and then we have the strong acidic, the 2.5 water, which has amazing properties, you know, as we've seen on this disc today. So basically, you know, this machine produces all the different waters that you're going to need in your home. You can get all the chemicals out of your house that you don't want to have into your house. You can put the absolute best water into your bodies, into everybody in your family, and I hope that now you understand how important it is that you put this water in your body.
I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis about 8 years ago. And I decided to be very proactive about my health, and my decision was to do an injectable medication each day. And about 5 years ago, I decided that I wanted to try to change my diet to be more alkaline and perhaps get off the medication. And I did a lot of pretty difficult things to make it more alkaline. I drank a special green drink. I would soak almonds and then grind them and soak them and strain them and eat tons of avocados. And when I found out about this water generator, I really was very attuned to it because of this acidity, alkalinity, which I knew was so very important. And I actually haven't had another relapse in my MS for 5 years since I started doing this. So I started drinking the water, and I noticed huge changes in my mood, in my energy level, in my elimination, and really in my clarity of thinking. It's been a tremendous benefit to my life. I mean, I think that one thing that happens when people have MS is that they have a host of other problems that occur. They feel depressed. They have trouble really having clear thoughts sometimes. And this has just made a ton of difference. So I'm so incredibly thankful, and I hope that I get to share it with lots of people.
Enagic is the gold standard in water ionization. Enagic is a Japanese company with the precision of Japanese engineering and quality control, with the mission to improve the lives of as many people as they can reach. Each Enagic machine is built to last a lifetime with proper care. Parts can be individually replaced or repaired if necessary, making these machines a lifetime investment and not a disposable appliance that needs to be replaced every 3 to 5 years. With repair facilities located in the U.S. and across the world, repairs are easily performed. Each Enagic machine is completely assembled by one technician from start to finish and backed by a complete 5-year warranty. On the SD501, other units have a 3-year warranty. Enagic has been in business for over 35 years and has numerous awards and certificates. One certificate to note is the one from the prestigious Geriatric Disease Prevention Association of Japan that endorses only one water ionizer company. That company is Enagic. This group consists of over 6,500 doctors who endorse and use KangenWater with their patients. It's important to note that these doctors are using the strong acidic and strong KangenWaters as part of many therapies, and most water ionizers are incapable of producing these special waters. Another certificate to point out is the International Earth Environment University Award, given to companies for their outstanding contribution in the area of natural conservation and eco-business. This is one of the greenest products on the market, doing away with the need for millions of plastic water bottles that clog our landfills and the toxic chemicals often used for household cleaning. One of the most important things to understand about water ionizers are the plates. Enagic uses solid titanium plates individually cut to size and then coated in platinum, and the SD501 has 7 of the largest plates in the industry. The plates are important because these plates are then charged with electricity, becoming the engine of the ionizer. When the water passes over the plates, the minerals in the water are separated into 2 streams of water, one alkaline and one acidic. The more plate surface area and the more power you can apply to the plates, the better the separation and the better the quality of the ionized water. Some metals are better electrical conductors than others, and some hold up to the abuse of electrolysis. While some manufacturers use stainless steel or white gold because they are less expensive, the most reputable companies use titanium and platinum. Titanium is used because it is a very dense metal and is a great conductor of electricity. Platinum is a great durable conductor of electricity, and it's applied on top of the titanium to keep the titanium from breaking down in water during electrolysis. Enagic's SD501 water ionizer has the ability to utilize the highest wattage in the industry. Everyone knows that if you want a brighter light, you use a higher wattage light bulb. With ionizers, the higher the wattage, the more it impacts the water. Enagic also uses a transformer for their power supply. A transformer is the most stable, effective, and time-tested form of electrical regulator available on the market today. But Enagic machines don't overheat because of their precision engineering and technology. Most other machines don't use transformers because they cannot handle the heat generated. Enagic uses solid titanium platinum plates. Their research has shown that solid plates are the most stable and time-tested method for creating ionized water. They don't use the mesh plates used by some manufacturers because of the long-term problems mesh plates pose. Mesh plates seem to make sense to someone who is uninformed on the subject of water ionization because it creates more surface area to come in contact with the water. The drawback is when metal expands and contracts as it is heated and cooled, the mesh plates tend to break down, thus reducing the ability of the plates to produce alkaline ionized water for more than a few minutes at a time. These cracks also expose titanium to the water, which then creates potential health problems. Mesh plates are a way for a manufacturer to save money in production while having nothing to do with increasing the quality of the water. The plates are the engine of this machine. Obviously, you can produce a smaller engine for less money than a more powerful one. Another important factor in ionizing water is the amount of time the water comes in contact with the plates. The longer the water is exposed to the electricity in the electrolysis chamber, the more it is changed, resulting in higher ORP and pH values. As an example, if you run the water through a machine with small plates very slowly, you will get a higher pH value of water than if it runs at a faster flow rate, such as you would do when filling your glass to drink. If it runs through very quickly, the pH will be much lower. It is therefore important when comparing machines to make certain the flow rates are equal in the comparison. Water pressures vary from area to area and day to day. Enagic engineers have handled this by allowing you to regulate the volume of water flowing through your machine to suit the local conditions and pressures. They can do this because of the ability of these larger plates and the amount of power running through them. A flow regulator does not improve water quality, but in reality simply compensates for an inferior design and allowing the water more time to come in contact with the plates. Simple pH tests should be conducted when you install your machine and on a periodic basis to help you evaluate the best water pressure for your machine. All Enagic machines can produce between 1.2 and 2 gallons of Kangen water per minute. The Enagic SD501 is found in some health practices and doctors' offices in the U.S. Dr. Dave Carpenter's office currently distributes 300 to 500 gallons of Kangen water with their SD501 per day to their patients. Enagic doesn't have any restrictions on the hardness of the source water, nor how much water you can give away to friends and family. Enagic ionizers make water with such unique and stable properties that they have trademarked it. When a doctor writes a prescription for Kangen water, it is for water made only by an Enagic ionizer. When doctors like Dr. Hiromi Shinya and others talk about having their patients drink Kangen water, it is this unique water made only by an Enagic ionizer. No other manufacturer's machines make Kangen water, no matter what they claim. Enagic ionizers are self-cleaning, and in addition, they have a cleaning maintenance cartridge to address the mineral buildup on the plates that occur with use. This cleaning system is a patented system. This allows the machines to produce the highest quality of Kangen water available and is why Enagic is the gold standard when it comes to water ionizers. Enagic is the market leader. As such, they are leading the way and even forcing changes in the industry because of their high standards, superior technology, incredible warranty, and other industry-leading innovations. Currently, Enagic manufactures several different models of ionizers. These range in cost from $1,300 up to $6,000. The SD501 is designed to last for 15+ years with proper care and maintenance, and to be repaired if the time comes that a component wears out. These are not throwaway machines. Our president, Mr. Oshiro, wants this to be the only ionizer you have to buy in your lifetime. The SD501 is Enagic's flagship model. It is the best engineered water ionizer on the market designed for home use. It's also being used in many commercial settings because of its unique design and capacity. But Enagic's other models are equally well built and will perform just like a true little brother to their flagship model. After all, they are all designed and built to set the standard. Occasionally, we hear from people who are seeing so-called negative information on the internet. A recent online survey revealed that it is the opinion of some people that the world is flat. Man has never landed on the moon. The tragedy of the Holocaust really never happened. Canada is planning on invading the USA. Drinking alkaline water is nonsense, and water ionizers don't work. Please keep in mind that although everyone has the right to an opinion, it doesn't necessarily mean that their opinion is true or even remotely resembling the truth. But it can be very convincing. Let's look at what Dr. Ray Kurzweil has to say about ionizers and alkaline water. Dr. Ray Kurzweil was inducted in 2002 into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. He received the $500,000 Lemelson MIT Prize, the nation's largest award in invention and innovation. He received the 1999 National Medal of Technology, the nation's highest honor in technology, from President Clinton in a White House ceremony. He has also received scores of other national and international awards, including the 1994 Dixon Prize, Carnegie Mellon University's Top Science Prize, Engineer of the Year from Design News, Inventor of the Year from MIT, and the Grace Murray Hopper Award from the Association for Computing Machinery. He has received 12 honorary doctorates and honors from 3 U.S. presidents. Here is what Dr. Kurzweil had to say about alkaline water being nonsense and that water ionizers don't work. It is fairly simple to show that these statements are incorrect. Alkaline ionized water is very beneficial to one's health. There are more benefits to drinking alkaline ionized water than just the alkalinity or pH. The most important benefit of drinking alkaline water produced by an ionizer is the oxidation reduction potential. Water with a high negative ORP is of particular value in its ability to neutralize oxygen-free radicals. You've briefly heard what Dr. Kurzweil had to say, and you've heard what Dr. Mushik Shan had to say earlier in the program. The question you should be asking yourself, if you still find yourself being somewhat skeptical, is, what if what we're telling you is true? Can you afford not to investigate further? What do you really have to lose by drinking the water? Drink the water and get your own answer. Change your water, and it just might change your life.
We have tested a lot of bottled waters, and we find a couple of common themes. Even the ones that are extra expensive and have lots of different additives in them, they may be alkaline. They can achieve that in lots of different ways. They may actually have added minerals in them, which are very good, as long as they're obviously water-soluble minerals and not something that's detrimental to the body. But the real problem seems to be that when people drink most bottled waters, what happens is they're drinking down things that are speeding up the aging process. Those bottled waters tend to be, as a group, waters that have a high positive oxidative reduction potential, meaning that they speed up oxidation or aging. We also find that these bottles sit on pallets sometimes for months and months at a time. They're exposed to the sun, and a lot of researchers are very concerned that the water in these bottles is contaminated with things like organochlorines. These are cancer-causing agents. So we all have to be aware of that.
Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to test the pH and the ORP of a whole bunch of the waters. Now there's literally hundreds of bottles of water and various things out on the market, but we just have just a wide assortment of a bunch of the different drinks that are available in all these different bottles of water. Some expensive brands, some not so expensive brands, spring waters, filtered waters. We're just going to test them just all at the same time and see what happens. So let's go ahead and get started with some of these. First we're going to go with the Fiji. We have Kirkland brand here, which of very popular water. Evian. Voss. Some Crystal spring water. Penta. Naturally preferred spring water. we've got crystal clear water with peach flavor and some carbonation. So we'll get the ORP meter here set up. We'll go ahead and get our clean water so we can neutralize between each. And let's go ahead, we'll get that clean. Let's go ahead and see what Fiji is. Fiji has a positive 212 and rising ORP. Go back and Costco brand has a 187, 188. I'll go to Evian. Evian has a positive 200 and a little bit more. Voss, what's that? Positive 180 and rising. Crystal spring water, positive 195. Looks like it's going to go just over 200. Now we've got Pinta. There. What's Pinta at? Looks like 188, 200 and some, and still rising. There we go. This naturally spring water is a positive 209. And last but not least, crystal clear. Has a positive, of course the carbonation isn't helping, a positive 270, 280, and then some. So let's just let that sit in our clean water here for a moment, and let's go back and let's test the pH of each of these drinks. Now remember, we're looking for purple. Oops. Try to get 4 drops in each of these. Oh, 4. Get these all stirred up. Got quite an arrange here. Now what you notice is that spring water is always better than any type of reverse osmosis, any type of filtering. They still filter spring waters, and depending on if it's a filtered spring water, you're going to see it be much more acidic. I know Pinta is a very expensive bottled water, and it's very acidic, but you've got here an inexpensive brand of spring water that of course is just past neutral, and of course a very acidic drink right over here. You notice that the Costco brand, it looks like, has about the best pH out of all these first ones that we've tested here, but the ORPs, all of them were in the positive range. And like we said, we're looking for that negative ORP. So go ahead and set these all over here. And like I said before, there are hundreds and hundreds of bottles of water on the market, hundreds of them. We're just going to move these right to the front and we'll test these. Get some new cups laid out here. We even got some vodka here that we'll test out. We'll see how the vodka tests just to see. And we'll get started here. Now this is Sam's Choice. That would be Walmart. Very popular bottled water, widely accessible. We got some New Amsterdam vodka. Another spring water. Deer Park. Another spring water. You know, it's kind of fun looking at all these different bottles of water out on the market because you have quite a variety when you go into a store to decide what to buy. But it'll be good to know which bottled waters are the best. You know, I don't try to drink any bottled water today. It's certainly not good for the environment, and you just really don't know what you're getting just because it's in some nice fancy looking bottle. But today we're going to be able to tell just what is in these waters. Now here's another very popular water today, smart water. So we'll see how the smart water tests, see if it's very smart. Little Schweppes. Okay, we'll just back this up, get the ORP meter to the other side, and we'll do this again. Let's see, get it turned on. Let's see how Sam's Walmart water is going to do here. Now actually, that's got a pretty good reading. We're at about 112, 113, and compared to some of the ones we looked at, that's pretty good. I'm sure Walmart will be happy to know that. We'll put this down into the vodka, and wow, look at that. Vodka has 159. It looks like it's better to drink vodka than it is most of these bottles of water. I'm sure there'll be some happy people to find out about that. Here we go. Let's test this next water. We have a positive 153, 156, 160. It looks like it's going to climb into the 170s. So that's about the same as everybody else. Let's test out Deer Park. Deer Park is a positive 160, 159. Looks like it's coming down a little bit there. About a 158. Let's check out this one. And it looks like we've got about a positive 189, and it's continuing to go. Looks like it's going to top at 200. That's a nice, pretty bottle. Let's see what we've got here. This looks like a positive 158, 175. I think you're getting the point that most of these bottles of water here are pretty much, they don't have any oxidation reduction potential that's certainly good for us. Here's this smart water. Now this is where we're going to see how smart it is. It looks like it's smart to the tune of about a positive 180 on the ORP scale. So no antioxidant property in the smart water. And lastly, we'll get in here to the Schweppes, and it looks like we've got a positive 222, 225, and climbing. So none of those got down into the 0 range, and certainly none of them went negative, like the Kangen water. Let's go ahead though, and we will put 4 drops into each of these. Now remember, we're looking for purple. Blue is neutral. Actually, and then green gets all the way neutral. If it goes a little bit blue-green, there's 4. Let's see what we got on the table here. It looks as though only one, we'll get, that's the vodka. It looks like only one of these is actually going to be a little above neutral. Looks like Sam's Choice is about, it's a little under neutral. The Deer Park looks like it's about neutral, around 7. Some of these other waters here, again, very acidic. And very acidic. The smart water looks like it's trying to get pretty close to neutral. I think what we've learned here today is that we've learned that most of the bottles of water that you go to the store and you buy, as you can tell, are pretty much acidic. There's a few here, and it's good to know, for the most part, anytime you grab a spring water, you're going to be okay. But certainly you don't want to drink that water on a regular basis. You want the properties that the Kangen water has with the microclustering, with the high alkalinity, and the high negative ORP number. That's about the most important thing that you want to look for. And certainly you want to just get that water directly from a machine. We don't want to store it into the bottles. As Dr. Carpenter said, when water sits in a bottle, it loses its hexagonal properties and it turns into a pentagonal water, and it just is a water that our bodies are not able to utilize as it was intended. So that's what we've learned. I think bottom line is the best water that we should be drinking, without a doubt, is the Kangen water 9.5. I wonder, I wanted to try this. Let's see if we can actually get these waters to come back up to some type of alkalinity by adding our water to them. Oh, we can get the smart water. Oh, look at that. Vodka doesn't look like it's that bad. You know, most of these waters we can certainly change, but as you can tell, some of them are kind of going back a little bit. This one's actually going more back towards acidic. A few of them have stayed, but you can see how powerful Kangen water is, and this is what you need to be putting into your body.
Putting this wonderful water in your body absolutely is one of the best preventive maintenance things that I personally know of, and I recommend it to everybody that I talk to.
I got involved in Enagic because this Kangen water did such miraculous things for my health. I wanted that same benefit for a lot of the people that I knew, certainly my loved ones and people that I care about. Because I shared it with a few people, some really exciting things happened. In fact, in the first 30 days, I went away just for a weekend, and I came back and found 18 checks waiting for me in my mailbox. And that, of course, was the first clue that I needed to take a more serious look at the business. Once I evaluated